Hey everyone, today what I'm doing is actually going to be doing the SMax catch can install. Now, some things have changed in my engine bay because of some warranty work. My car has basically been at Hyundai for the past 4 months. So this is kind of a quick and impromptu kind of video, so bear with me. What we've had to do is build this brace here, which is actually going to hold the catch can. This is mockingly named Snoopy's universal catch can bracket, because with it you can pretty much attach anything. The only downside is you kind of need a cold air intake. I'm not even sure if it's going to work with short ram intakes. Somebody would have to actually buy one and find out. What it does is it mounts here to the cold air intake pipe for my EM intake. This is a stock mount on the Genesis Coupe down there, and this is vibration insulated. And then it mounts up here to the passenger side fuse box. These are just two 10mm bolts. You can use those or sockets. Pull them out, put the brace in place. Everything's already lined up, and tighten it back down. You'll notice here, maybe, is that there is two holes already drilled into it. That is specifically for the SMax catch can. Now, things you're going to need for the SMax catch can include some 3/8 fuel line, some 1/2-inch fuel line, some 1/4-inch fuel line, your SMax catch can. Now, on your catch can, you're going to buy these directly from SMax when you order your catch can. They are the best option you can use, but they're not the only option you can use. You buy a 1/2-inch fitting and a, whatever I said earlier, 3/4-inch fitting, or 3/8, a 1/2-inch and a 3/8 fitting. Okay, the 1/2-inch is for your PCV side intake, and the 3/8 is for the PCV valve itself. You'll also have this come in the box as well. This is your drain cock here, and that's where you're going to be using this. Other things, you're going to need some worm gears, and you're going to need some male 1/4-inch NPT by 1/4-inch inside diameter hose barb, and that's to go in there. Now you're actually going to want to put some thread sealant on there to make sure that it doesn't leak, but you don't really have to because the drain cock keeps everything closed. You guys will see, have probably already seen my review on this can, so for assembly, or basically what the can is, take a look at that. You're going to need your O-ring that came with it, but we're going to start, because SMax does this, you're going to start with this piece here, and then we'll go. Alright, now I forgot to mention you're going to need some 1/4-inch mounting hardware. What I opted with is some chromoly screws or bolts, so I don't have to put anything special on it and it's not going to back off. I decided to go with the whatever those rubber crush washers are, or whatever the hell they are. Got a crush washer, sorry, two flat 1/4-inch flat washers, and this is 1.25 or 1.5 inch bolt. I'm going to start with your SMax mounting bracket. You can mount it up or you can mount it like this, whichever way you choose. You got enough room to do either. And we're going to put the soft side towards there, so it points up like this. We're then going to feed that through there. Sorry, I'm kind of fumbling on this. I broke my finger the other day. Actually, I broke my finger building this bracket. And just tighten that up so it doesn't fall. Once you got it loosely done up, you want a 7/16 socket and wrench to tighten everything up. Now this bar is made out of 3/4 inch square stock. It's hollow, so it's light, but you can still tighten these up pretty damn tight. I'll just show you quickly here. And just a little bit poking out. Once you got that done, you're going to want your lid separate from your catch can. Now there's two types of styles. There's one style that the gasket goes in, and there's a style that the gasket goes on. My particular style that I have here today goes in. So now that the gasket's on, you'll see that the lid won't come up. And you probably don't want to do this with the dipstick in. Now when you do your thread sealant, I got the liquid stuff. I really recommend the liquid stuff over the tape, just because it works a little bit better. You only want to go around, well, basically 3/4 of the way. You want to leave a little bit of a gap. And you don't want to do the whole thing, you just want to do a little section of it. You tighten it in, and grab a wrench, tighten it up, and then we'll continue. Alright, so when you're done, you'll notice a nice uniform little white seal along the edge there. That's how you know when it's done now. Before you put your can in, you want to kind of do this step. You want to get your 1/4 inch fuel line and take one of your worm gears. Press it on. And make sure it gets as close to the top as possible. This one's pretty long, so good for it. And then some people use screwdrivers. I prefer to use a socket to put these on, just because I think it gives you a little bit more of a uniform grip on it. And don't tighten too tight, but definitely don't want that little booger to slip off. And then where you run this is really up to you, wherever you think you're going to be able to access it, but it's not going to get caught in your belts, and it's not going to get caught on anything else. I'm going to run mine behind the intercooler pipe, and there is a hose for the radiator there. I'm going to go between the intercooler pipe and that, and then there is a power steering line there. I'm going to slip behind that so it doesn't get sucked up. And that puts it right at the undercarriage. And you're going to have lots of hose. I suggest you buy 3 feet of hose. That way, if you screw up, you can always go back at her. And you're going to put your catch can right up here. And you're going to screw it on. Make sure that the 1/2 inch is on this side, and your 3/8 or whatever it is on this side of the can. Once you've got your can on there, don't make sure it's not completely tight, because you might need to make some minor adjustments to it. But you can go ahead and put your dipstick back in. That can go in as tight as you want. And then the next thing that we're going to, well, actually I'll just go over this a little bit. You should have clearance, quite a bit of clearance between, well, not really quite a bit, but between there and there. If the bar moves, you're not going to hit it. On my EEM intake at least, not going to hit it. Intercooler piping there. Now this might change a little bit once my engine pipes go back in, but generally you're not going to hit anything. There's quite a bit of room in there I can put my arm around. To drain it, you just reach in and pull the nozzle down, and it'll drain, and you just push it back up with a little bit of firmness, and then it'll close shut again. Now remember, this isn't tight yet. We're still not done. And the hose, don't know how well you can see down there, kind of wraps around and you can see it poking out right down there. We're going to go to your intake manifold now. Now make sure your car hasn't been running and that everything's not too hot. You don't want to burn yourself. I'm going to set the camera up and then we'll continue. Alright, to get these off, need a pair of pliers here. Need a nose, flat jaw, whatever you want. Tighten things. And you want to give a little bit of a pull. Dead bugs or something in there. And you're pulling this out. Now, it's been said on the forums that there is a check valve in here. Well, there isn't. There's no check valve in there. The check valve is this thing right here. This is your PCV valve. And then you're going to grab your different lengths of hose. You can either at this point reuse your stock spring clamps, or you can use your worm gears if you want, but I'm just going to slip them on for the sake of this installation. And you'll see that they go like that. Measure out your length. I got 5 feet of this, just if anybody's wondering, just in case I had any funny things I had to do with it. Take your measure, get everything lined up, take your measurement, always undercut, don't overcut. What that means is cut off, leave yourself more hose than what you think you're going to need. You can always just trim back later. And then there, basically, you just get this all tied up. Make sure none of your hoses are going to get in the way of anything. They're not going to pinch, they're not going to do nothing. No hose goes, there's no rise in the hose, the hose always drops down. You don't ever want it to rise back up, because otherwise it'll stop things from rolling into the catch can where you need it to go. It could just end up clogging up your tube. And if you clog up your tube, you're in for some interesting side effects. Once you got your hose all done up and where everything's going to go, then you finish tightening down your can, and you're pretty much good to go with the small change that you're going to have to do down here. You're going to use some zip ties throughout your tube. Now this does not matter all that much of how low it goes, because, well, as you can see from underneath your Genesis, there is it's pretty flat bottomed underneath. You're just going to make sure that it pokes down low enough that you can slip a drain pan underneath. To check your can every time you want to, simply undo the dipstick, wipe it off, put the dipstick back down, pull it out, and be able to tell where you are on how full you are. And that is pretty much it for installing this can, aside from either making one of these yourself or getting one from me or from SMax. The can, you're good to go on how to install the SMax catch can in a 2010 to 2012, I guess now, since the 2013s are different, Genesis coupe. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below, and I'll try and get to them as soon as I can. Thanks.